everyone! Welcome to another episode of Cookin' in Little Bear. Although this time we're not cooking in Little Bear, we are cooking in Caroline, which is my friend Dawn's tag Outback trailer. So since she was kind enough to come join us, I decided to let her pick what we were going to make today. And she picked something I can't pronounce.
Shakshuka.
Shakshuka. So what is shakshuka?
Shakshuka is an Israeli tomato-based dish. I chose it because it's very simple to prepare camping. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients. Just sounded tasty. So like we mentioned, this is a really easy meal for camping because all you really need is one pot and a spatula. And there are just a handful of ingredients. We have tomatoes, onions, a pepper. The spices will add coriander, chipotle, paprika, cumin, and celery seed. And then of course you'll need your eggs, and it pairs well with pita bread. So we have pita bread to go with it. Step one, we'll chop up our veggies. My preference is to have it in thin strips because I like a little bite to the vegetables. So next part is we're gonna put together our spice blend. We are going to use a couple teaspoons of paprika, a couple of teaspoons of coriander, about a teaspoon of cumin, half a teaspoon of chipotle pepper, and about half a teaspoon of celery seed. First step will be to saute the peppers and onions. So we have our cast iron preheating. To boil the pan, I'm going to use some lard. You can use any fat you want though. So we'll go ahead and add the peppers and onions. Also I'll salt the peppers and onions. Next we're going to let these cook down a little bit until they're nice and soft and maybe a little charred. Alright, we've got our onions and peppers looking pretty good. They're wilty and a little bit charred, so we're about ready to add our spice blend next. I like to add the spices during this step versus after we put the tomatoes in because they say that it helps to bloom the spices and bring out their essential oils and flavor to add them into a hot oily pan. Alright, the next thing to go in will be the tomatoes. Mandy recommended I use their P38 Army issue can opener, so here goes. I got whole tomatoes, but you can get whatever kind of tomatoes you like. Diced may have been more practical for camping, but. So I like to chop up the tomatoes a little bit, kind of chunky, big, bite-sized pieces.
Alright, while the ladies are cooking, I'm gonna cook too. I have some shishito peppers in the refrigerator, so I'm gonna cook them over the campfire in cast iron. And step number one, I am going to use some leftover bacon and pork sausage grease.
After heating up some bacon grease, just throw in the shishito peppers and be sure to fully coat them.
Alright, so all we need to do is let these char on the pan for a little while. Just basically, when they look charred, they're done. And season them with a little bit of salt.
Alright, next we will kind of just season this up to taste. So if you'd like a little bit more of any of the spices or salt, anything along those lines, you can add it now. That's pretty good. Alright, next step is to nest some eggs into this sauce. To help the eggs set well, I usually just make a little indent where the yolk can sit. And I'm going to add 6 eggs, so 6 indents. So I carry my eggs in this plastic egg carton when traveling. It's very sturdy, it holds up in the cooler and keeps the eggs from cracking. That looks pretty good. And then, very important, to cover them so that they can set up and cook. Okay, so I've turned the stove down to low and covered the pan so that the eggs will set. And that should just take a few minutes, maybe 5 to 8 minutes.
Well, since Dawn is cooking the shakshuka and Kendrick's doing the peppers, I guess I should contribute by making mimosas.
All right, we're gonna check on the eggs. They're getting there, but not quite done. You can see the whites are still a little bit wiggly. So I'm gonna let them set up a little bit more. All right, here we are. Our eggs are nice and set. And so it's done, ready to eat.
Finally, Dawn warmed up the flatbread by toasting it directly on the propane burner in her tag.
Now, it was time to eat, so we set out our full meal of shakshuka, shishitos, and flatbread.
I don't know what it all is, but it looks good.
I have to admit, I was a little bit leery when Dawn first told me what she wanted to cook. But after seeing the final result, I was pretty much sold.
It's delicious. Spicy, a little bit of heat to it. I love eggs, so perfect.
I don't know what it's called or how to pronounce it, but it is pretty delicious.
I had never heard of shakshuka prior to Dawn offering to make it for us, but I'm always up to trying something new, especially when it's around a campfire.
All right, if I don't say so myself, that was one fine meal I cooked.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, I did
Shock
so
it
much.
to me.
Shuck
Pretty
it.
good.
As always, if you'd like the full recipe, please see the link in the description below. And let us know if you enjoy these cooking videos and what else you might like to see. 1, 2, 3. Love and light! We gotta go
Wait.
down and then up.
Oh, and then we throw our hands?
Yeah. Well,
I was trying to do it like 1, 2, 3, love and light, and then when you say love and light, hands go up.